And hello everyone, welcome back to another CSS tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about shadow effects. So this will add a shadow to your text or to your div or whatever you need. So we'll be talking about two specifically. First, we'll have the text shadow, and second, we will have the box shadow. Now the text shadow property adds a shadow to text as it says. So let's get a simple little bit of text in here. Let's go some P and let's put lorem in here. Then here we can select the P tag and we can give it a text shadow. And here will actually autocomplete for me. So it's 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel black. When I save this, you'll notice our text looks almost like a little bit bigger. It's because of the text shadow. We can of course make this something like red. Now the shadow of the text is red. If you don't specify anything, it will automatically be black, as you can see there. And you only need to specify the first two if you really want to. You do not need to specify the third value, and we'll get to what these values mean. And we can specify something like red, and now we'll only display the color and will not use the third value. So let's first talk about these values. This is the x-axis of the shadow, and this is the y-axis of the shadow, and this is of course the color. So let's say the y-axis is 5 pixels. Now you'll notice it went downwards because x is left to right, y is up to down. And if we increase the size here, we can see it better, and there we go. So the shadow is going downwards. And of course here, if we made this 5 as well, then we'll go more to the left. And there we go. Let's put this back to 1 pixel and 1 pixel. And now I'll notice it's much simpler to see once it's been increased in size. Now you can add a blur effect to this shadow, because usually when you look at a shadow, it's not this amount of visible. So you could add a blur effect by giving the third property such as 1 pixel, which will give it a 1 pixel blur. As you can see, it's already nice and blurry. Or we can go 5 pixels and now it'll be very blurry, and so on. Now we can of course take something like this, and if we were to make the color of it white and the background color, we would just keep that black or black. It seems that the text shadow color itself is the same as the text color, so if you do not specify it, it will be the same. Anyhow, then as you can see now, there's like this nice blur on the text, so it almost gives you the illusion of glowing text. If we make the blur a little bit less, then it will be easier to see as well. Now you're not limited to just this X and Y shadow. You can add another shadow. As an example, here we could go 0, 0, meaning do not go anywhere, just be on the text itself. Let's go to a blur of 5 pixels. And let's make it hashtag F0F. And that would be a pinkish purple. So now you have two. You have one that's black, and you have one that is pinkish purple. We of course make this black one stand a little bit more, and we can also make this 0 pixels and 0 pixels, and there we go. So now there's two text shadows on here. Of course, if you wanted to, let's say, have the same shadow but on two different sides, then you could do something like this. And here, instead of doing 0, 0, you go -1 or negative whichever value. That means it will go negative and then to the place you want to go. So for example, if 1 pixel is the first one, then it will go to the left. But if it's -1, it will go to the right, because the x-axis is like you might have learned in school. If we were to open up our drawing app here, we have this. This is our x and this is our y. As like in school, where you have 1, or it will actually go the other way around, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here you have -1, -2, -3, and so on. So it's basically the same as this. And you always start here in the center, and depending on what your value is that you give it, it will go left, right, up, or down. So just like one of those charts you used to do in school. So we were to say -1, -1, and let's also make this black. Then now there's a shadow going up and left, as well as a shadow going down and right. And we'll both give it a blur of 1 pixel. Then it will also produce pretty nice text. Now, of course, you're not limited to just this, just 2 of them. You can have up to 4 where you specify, or even more probably, where you specify each and every side. So I could go here and I could literally just make this 1 pixel black, -1 pixel black. But you will of course need to specify more than 1. This would be like 0 and then -1, 0. Of course you can copy this and this will be 0, 1 and then 0, -1. And now you basically created a border around the text. So it will start by going X 1 pixel, so left or right, then it will go left, and then it will go down, and then it will go up, because it's X and then Y, X, Y, X, Y. Now as for text shadow, it is very simple. It's just adding a pixel amount of shadow to text. Let's talk about the box shadow. So we can remove that. And let's select our margin div here. Now a box shadow adds a shadow to a box element, such as a div. So we can say box shadow, and we can say, let's say 10 pixels, 10 pixels, and specify color, and there we go. If you zoom out a little bit, yeah, let's maybe just also give a little bit of a margin. So margin 1 rem, there we go. Now you can see it better. So here we see there's the shadow, and we could of course make the background color just so we can see it better, equal to something like red. And now here you can see the shadow of this box. Now just like the text shadow, the box shadow also has a blur. So we could go 5 pixels and that will blur it. Or we can make this a little bit smaller as well, like that. And now the shadow is a little bit closer to the box itself. But here we also have another property. We have the spread property, which defines a spread radius. Basically, it will spread the shadow almost like smudging it a little bit. A positive value will increase the size of the shadow, and a negative one will of course make it smaller. So here we could add 5 pixels, and now you notice that the shadow got bigger. If we were to go -5 pixels, then it would actually get smaller. And just like the text shadow, you can also specify multiple shadows. So here we can do this, go like that, and if you specify negative here, it will make a shadow on both ends, as you can see. And just like with text shadow, you can specify multiple, so it doesn't have to be 2, it can be 4, 3, how many ever shadows you want to apply. You can also make the shadow on the inside of this box. As an example, if we go here and just specify inset, then here there's a shadow on the inside, but note it starts from this point here, not this point here, but this point here. If you wanted to start from this point here, you can use negative, so go like that, and now we'll start here from the inside. And of course here you can also go inset, and I will also make it that shadow go on the inside. So now there's 2 shadows and they're both on the inside. And the shadow properties are just that simple. There's not a lot to them, but they can add a really nice look and feel to your website. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next CSS tutorial.